Okay, basically this guy says that the universe is consistent, speed of light, gravity stay the same because God holds it together, which is why we can trust our sense to be reliable. Ask how and why does that mean you can evoke the supernatural in a universe that operates fine without it? How can an atheist account for the order of the universe in his question without God? Well, if there's order in the universe, then therefore there can't be anyone there's no signs of any supernatural being, manipulating it.
Well, I mean, at least from my understanding of science, I'd say that you can explain the order by just simple chemical interactions where there is matter to interact. I mean, we know things aren't consistent throughout the universe, because if there was, you wouldn't have vast regions where there's just nothing because it's empty space, and then things like suns and planetary systems. If it truly was consistent, you'd have a kind of a fine mist of stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
The fact that we have stars and planets means it's inconsistent in its very nature.
Yeah.
And the places that we do have stuff, and the reason why we have consistency and its structure and it's ordered, it's down to how the chemistry and how it all bonds.
And I'm referring to, as I take this, creationist is saying to the laws of physics, to the laws, for example, and constants like the speed of light and etc. are constant. If there was a God, there'd be, it'd be more unlikely that these things would be constant, because he'll manipulate them to suit his will, to create these miracles. I think Sound of Silence did a video on this. By that, it was basically a video Sound of Silence did when he was responding to that idiot from the Truth Movement, the Truth Group. I don't know if they're called the Truth Movement or the Truth Group.
As Sam's just said now in the chat, he says some parts are becoming more organised at the expense of some becoming much less organised. That's all at the end of the day.
The Troop Group. You said it was the Troop Movement, called it the
BM.
More like the BM
Truth, man.
Guys, I actually got one thing I ponder about. How many of the creationists that the average creationist, not the who we call like semi-professionals like I, not that he's a professional in a sense, but who's advocating it actively, but how many of the average ones do you think actually are concerned about truth and are just told a lie and believe that lie? But if they're actually presented with the evidence, how many of them do you actually think would change their minds?
That's an interesting question. I would say it would depend on who you're probably talking about. The average creationist who doesn't really know much about science, because that's why the average creationist who believes in creationism and doesn't trust evolution on the fact that he doesn't know much science, I'd say if you present him with the evidence, there's a good chance he might accept evolution. But when you're dealing with people with like Nephilim Free and I2I, it doesn't matter how much evidence you put in front of them.
The hardcore ones.
Yeah, they just want to spread their religious message any way, shape or form, and if it comes at the sake of truth, well, they can go over the truth, because after all, they're presenting the better truth, the greater truth, the real truth. And if we have to step over, the inconvenient truths, I hope that makes sense. I have a tendency to rant a little.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But yeah, the hardcore ones like I, Ray Comfort, Eric Hovind, Kent Hovind, etc. Those ones will never come around.
Absolutely
no.
No way, he won't.
Or, I mean, if they do, it's going to take some massive kind of eureka kind of moment, kind of like an inverted religious experience kind of thing, an unreligious experience.
But yeah, I don't think so. I do think they've passed the limits of no return due to the fact they've been presented with the evidence to such a degree that they have to be completely mentally retarded not to understand it. Have some like double thinking mental blocks.
And yeah, it's just inconvenient, so they're gonna block it out, or they're gonna say, "Oh, that's not relevant." Sure, look at Stig Maiden. One of the comments said, if anyone mentions DNA, new information cannot be added to DNA. If anyone mentions the bacteria Crappolopsis, it's not a real bacteria, it's just one he came up with to call it crap. But he said, if anyone mentions that bacteria, which I assume means nyelinase bacteria, or nyelinase digesting bacteria, he is going to block them. So basically, he said, if you prove him wrong, he will block you.
Well, it's similar to a thing what Ken Hovind does with his, I think it's 2,500 challenge to prove evolution, where he basically says that he reserves the right to disprove any source of evidence. He picks the rules and so on. And he did also say that yes, it is actually impossible to win this prize money. So it's the same way that they want to put up like a fake way of actually showing that we're not close-minded, we're open-minded, but when it actually comes down to the business, they are close-minded.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell you something though about the Stig Maiden comment I said that you're gonna find absolutely hilarious, and I swear to God, as far as I remember, it's either in the same comment or the comment below it. He says, "Oh, atheists are censoring him."
It's not quite of an oxymoron to write a comment saying someone is censoring you, because if they are censoring you, you can't fucking write a comment.
Rumble, sorry.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I don't mind people referring to me as Moonfire. It's just it will confuse people that don't know. Or can't see that it's the different name for me.
I just saw Moonfire. I was like, oh wait, it's Rumble. Damn it, brain freeze.
Actually, Moonfire is the older of the two nicknames. I'm not sure what you were talking about while I was gone, but I just...
Sorry, go on.
Thinking back, I was going to say I wasn't sure what you were talking about while I was gone, but there was, with what we're talking about, it's reminded me of something that I've known about for quite some time. It's the concept of Morton's demon, and it's the thing that explains why creationists are unable to accept and see evidence contrary to their belief. It's a bit like having kind of like a logic gate system, and you've got your facts and your fibs floating about, and like, imagine them as like balls or like photons, and they have to pass through this gate thing. Well, for most people, we have an open mind, and we're questioning and skeptical and all that, and so we're able to filter out the fact from the lies, and we can take in the fact. But creationists and people with other wacky views, they've got like this Morton's demon, and it's a little demon that sits in the doorway, and he closes it whenever there's a fact that tries to kind of pass its way through, and then it opens it when all the fibs want to come through. And I've just been digging out a link from Talk Origin's website. It's quite an old concept now. It's one I've been aware of for a while, but it just nicely explains what's going on. And then the creationists end up, they have to wait until this demon gets exorcised, as it were.
But isn't that a way of actually explaining what George Orwell presented in his book 1984, a way of double thinking, basically?
Possibly.
It would make sense. And there's about